All right, hey guys, this is Julian Wong from my home. I wouldn't even call it home office. I'll say home work area. So in today's video, basically we're here to talk about like what is the best starting deposit size for trading binary options successfully. So there was this thing about risk management that I created a little diagram, and I might share it with you right now. Let me do that right now. So this is some additional knowledge for you, and this is going to help you decide how to size your account. All right, do you see my screen? All right, here we go. So I think you see my screen right now, and this is something that I drew like during my trade session, and I want to share it with you guys. This is part of the binary lab usual training. So all right, so your account is 100%, right? And typically in normal trades, I tend to size like 0.3 to 1% per trade, up to as much as 2% at once. And this is just on normal trading, using Fibonacci and our various binary lab methods during ordinary times, assuming there's no news events, there's no catastrophes, there's no no assassinations or announcements or conferences going on. So just normal trading, when the news is pretty light, and using the methods, just doing things on a very technical basis. So 0.3% to 1% per trade, the maximum 2% once. Okay. Take note of all these percentages, and you can feel free to favorite this video, to mark it, to like it, subscribe to the channel, so that you can come back to it later on, or even you can even watch this video more than once to get a better idea of what's going on. All right, if there's a news event, I tend to like to trade it a little bit more heavier, because for events like the non-farm payroll, there's a very, very high likelihood that the price is just going to rebound very strongly after the news announcement is released. So I expect to make more money, and I don't expect to have to double up if I'm wrong at all, or much even. So I would tend to take about up to 2% per trade, and to a total risk of about 5% of my account during these events. 5% meaning that if I take more than one trade, or let's say if I re-enter the trade, so I could do like a 2, 2, and a 1, right? Or maybe I could do 2% of one currency pair, 2% another pair, and I might, if I see that the indicators line up, I may do a 1% re-entry on one of the pairs. Okay, now if there is unexpected price behavior, I apologize for the kids in the background. It always has to be that way. It's up to 10% of my account of risk when price behavior is like repeatedly breaking through support levels or resistance zones, and I find that this is like the last final turning point. I would, assuming that I've made some trades early on, I made some 0.3s, didn't work out, some 2s didn't work out, possibly did some rollover trades even, and then I may even do some bigger ones to kind of double up, even triple up sometimes, up to 10% of my account. And then there are the situations that we experienced on the USD JPY, and I'm going to show you that in just a moment. Let me clear out my charts. Okay, so I want to show you this one. All right, let me cancel my chart shift and show it to you. Okay, so let me switch my screen. Okay, that's me again. And now I want to show you this one right here. Okay, so this was yesterday on the USD JPY. There was a freakish incident. It went to a low of like 117.98 thereabouts, it went lower than that, and then it also went like it also kind of like went a little bit lower, but I'm looking at the body of the candle, not to the stem. Okay, and then before the movement, let's zoom out and also have a look see as to what kind of previous lows that it beat. So this was like it broke through this one. And there's also this one that it broke through a previous low. And there was also this one. And look at all the previous levels scrolling back in time. So all these are like supports. And there's this one. So a whole bunch of supports right here that it broke through. So it broke through all those and more. And I want to show you something right here. It's a bit of a free lesson for those of you who are not already in Binary Lab. And even for those of you in the Binary Lab, this is like, extra knowledge as well. I'm connecting all the highs and lows, and the parts where price repeatedly hits. There's a lot of levels, and later when I bring it back on, it's going to make a lot of sense. Notice that each one actually hits a few points. Like this one, 1, 2, 3, 4 hits everyone hits a few times. Okay, now we can get back to this chart right now, and I know it looks like a bloody mess, but but if we zoom in, okay, so once it breaks through this one, the next one it goes for is this, and breaks through that, next one is this, breaks through that, next one is this. You see how this one, okay, so initially, okay, this was one of those emergency situations because it looked out quite good, and then we actually did go for entries around here because round numbers, right? So we did one at, I believe we did one about like 1190 something, close to 0. We thought that was good, but I didn't expect they'll actually go lower than that. And then we thought that this one's going to be it, so we actually took positions here again, like here. So as you can tell, it didn't work out. It went lower than that, but this one eventually did work out because we took it for half an hour, so it worked out very nicely. And then we thought, okay, this one is going to bounce off this one, right? Because there was a nice tail, and then it failed to break this level. So, and then we went in again here. Okay, now I'm going to show you in a few moments, like what is the normal trade, what is the what is the normal trade? And there was no news event. It just happened to be like this. And I believe, although we didn't, but I believe that there's also people out there in the markets that possibly even did this one as well. So let's just take it from the top. I think it's better if I switch to my full screen so that you guys can see. All right, here's me again, and now I'm going to switch to full screen. You can see my whole desktop. Okay, so I'm going to come back to that diagram right here. So let's say normal trading. All right, normal trading. We took positions, assuming from here. I can't recall if we did, but assuming that we did from here, 35. No, we didn't. We went in hereabouts, about 1645. They're about 1645, and then we went in again at 1710, 1725, expiring at 1800. Okay, so these ones lost. All right, these would be the news trade. I mean the ordinary trade, and then okay, in this case it's more like we did normal trading, And then because we didn't have news events, so we went on to this one. Okay, so we don't use percentages unnecessarily. If it's news event, I might start exactly at 2%, but normal trading, I start at this one, and then the next level up will be this. So unexpected price behavior came here, and then eventually this became like, super unexpected, and then it went into high emergency. Eventually, I went into high emergency, and the trade outcome was pretty crazy. All right. If I were to show you some stuff, it went in all the way up to like this one. Okay, so that no, that wasn't it. It was this. All right, so this is high emergency. A lot of the accounts being used in trades, and it actually worked out quite well, as you can see. And I took out some of the trades early, and I let it kind of sit out, and eventually it worked out well. But that was the high emergency. I risked about 30% of the account. All right, now why am I spending so much time to talk about this? The reason I want to talk about this is because, okay, you need to understand a couple of things. With these things aside, okay, what else you need to know is that there is all these trades that we took were binary. There are two kinds of trades. Okay, there's the turbo, in other words, short-term trades, and there's also the binary option trades. Okay, and let me tell you where they're different. Okay, so for the turbo trades and the short-term trades, like most brokers will start at $5. All right, so starting at $5. Okay, and then there is the binary option trades that most of the time starts at 25. We have a broker in our supported list that has $5 starting trades on binary option that's fairly reliable. But now I want to show you how this works out, because this is where it really matters. And this is not some kind of a long roundabout way of telling you to basically put in more money. I'm telling you this because you very soon, in fact, already now recognize why starting with a minimum account of $200 is suicide. It's a stupid idea. I suppose if you're relying a lot on turbo trades, it's okay. But now year-end time, we're going to be having a lot of strong trends as a typical scenario, and yeah, the market's going to be a lot more unexpected. You cannot rely entirely on technical analysis because sometimes it does strange stuff. Okay, so because of that, we actually take a lot of the midterm kind of trades in binary option starting at $25. Now, $5 is already on a $200 account. Now it's like let's say based on minimum deposit of $200. Okay. So and then let's do the math. Let me centralize this like that. Actually, no, I'll do this. I'll put another text box. So based on 200, this one right here is, so 5 over 200 times 100%, which we know is like what, 4%, right? 4%. It's already in a news event. It's already twice as high it needs to be. Like I said, what did I do in news events? I do 2, 2, and 1, right? For instance, but here you can only do 4% once, and then here it's already way over. So I would say, okay, once again, I do 0.3 to 1% per trade on normal trading situations. Let's say if you just aim for 1% or 0.5%, what do you need to do 0.5%? So basically you take the smallest trade, being 0.5%, you divide you divide you divide 5 by 0.5 times 100, and that's going to give you 1,000. Okay, and then what about binary option? Okay, now this one, this one is just plain nuts. The equation is going to be like this: 25 divided by 200 times 100, and I believe that's 12.5%, because you can only do it 8 times. So this is suicide. This is already in unexpected range. So supposing if your first trade is already in the unexpected range, if this is this, and you know, by the time you get out the high emergency, you're probably gonna be risking like all, if not more than what is even left in your account, ideally, and you most definitely, you know, mess up. Let alone, you know, I'm not even sure if you have the mental composure to pull it off. It's not a matter if you can't. You know, it's just very irresponsible trading behavior. So what is the ideal amount? Okay, we work based on what is our minimum, and so I want to just break it down to you. The ideal amount is if you could keep your trades to about 0.5%, and then you know, do these other stuff. If you want to keep your $5 trades at 0.5%, then you're okay. Recommended. Okay, so if 0.5% trades at $5, so your account needs to be at 1,000. Okay, and recommended. If let's say your 0.5% trade, so let's just say 1%, right? 1% trades, 1% trades at 25 bucks. So this is going to mean that you're going to have to put in like 2,500 bucks. All right. Once again, the point of me showing this to you is not that, you know, I'm trying to discourage you from trading a small balance. You can trade with small balance, but you have to avoid a lot of events. And towards the year end, like right now, there's going to be a lot of events that you probably have to sit out and avoid. There are ways, I talked about ways for people with low balances to enter these trades as well. But most of the time, the safer route also puts you into, it's not totally safe, because you know, you actually miss out a lot of the good pricing. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why, you know, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, because the people, I mean, most people who are very skeptical and don't have a lot to lose, they tend to bail when they're losing, when it could have been a win, and you know, when the winning trade presents itself, they get out and they don't even take it, or they take it too late. So bail early, enter late. This is the problem that's associated with most retail investors, and like I've been able to basically break through that by, you know, reading about how the high level investors like Warren Buffett, Donald Trump, how these guys think, and what are their perspectives in terms of, you know, trading decisions or business investments. It's the same thing. It transfers over just the same way. So it was because I made those understandings. It's like, that's why that trade yesterday, you know, I put in a lot of positions right at the bottom, because I know that, you know, that one, there are a lot of technical conditions that I teach inside the binary lab, that I felt that was going to be a very qualified trade, and I actually went in quite heavy on that. I staked about like 30% of the account on that trade, and it worked out well. I just felt that that trade was the one that the big boys are going to be sitting up and paying attention to. Okay, so when you have a right size account, it enables you to be able to trade, you know, as close as possible to how the big boys trade, or at least, you know, let's not talk about the big boys, at least how I trade in the binary lab. Okay, so I hope that makes a lot of sense to you. $200 trades, $200 accounts is a really bad idea. Okay, don't think of that. 500 is generally a good amount for most part of the year, but towards the year end, like I said, when we have to rely more on the binary option, the midterm and long-term trades as opposed to the short terms, then it's not going to be enough. And let's just say, generally speaking, okay, if you have $1,000 minimum deposit in your accounts, you'll be able to do most of the things that I do. And if you have 2,500 in your account, you'll be able to do basically all the things that I do at the same risk level as well. So you would like, the reason why my account, even after a lot of bad trades, I don't really go into big deficits because I manage it very tight based on the chart I showed you. How I showed you, like, usually 0.3 to 1% with maximum exposure of 2%, 2.something% one time. News, like 2%, up to 2% per trade, to a maximum of 5% one time. And the unexpected events, 10% maybe. I might stretch it to 15 sometimes, but I decide to keep it at 10. And then we have the emergency events where I go as high as 30. Most of the time I just cap out 20, And one of the things is this: you need to understand this. A lot of people take it the wrong way. They'll be like, okay, Julian Wong and all these other traders say that they'll risk as much as 30% on stoning the account. And they see like Adam Stone also doing like 75% of his account on a single trade, even when it wasn't a fantastic setup. So they think, okay, because these guys do it, I can do it too. I can do it too. It doesn't work that way. It's quite opposite from that. In fact, you need to really trade often and trade continuously to be able to come to a certain level of experience, to know when is the right time to go heavy. Otherwise, you want to just do it during our binary lab sessions, and you can find out more about the binary lab sessions right here. It's right at the bottom, julianwong.leadpages.net/thebinarylab. So go there and find out how you can get part of this action. I love to welcome more new faces to the group. And if you felt that this video was helpful to you, do share it around with your friends and on your Facebook walls and like Tumblr and or G+ and everything, so that this can reach more people. I made this video with the intent to help people save money. Okay, a lot of people think that just because they're coming out more of pocket, they're actually spending money, but actually I'm having to save money. Because let me finish off with this example. Okay, let me finish off this video with my personal experience in binary options trading. The first time I started binary options trading was because of one of those stupid internet pop-up stuff that said, oh, I'm going to show you a brand new way in the 21st century how you can make like as much as $500 per, not even per day, but in per hour. And then it's like how you can, in your first week, make $2,000. And then when I saw that video, I was like, wow, this is something life-changing, is a breakthrough. I've never heard things like this, and it sounds logical enough. I'm going to try it. All right, so I tried it with, what did I do? I tried with the minimum deposit of $200, and I blew that account. The strategy sucked, and I mean, even with a good strategy, it may not necessarily work out as well. But basically, I burnt out that account. And then next, I tried out, actually, I burnt out 3 accounts before succeeding. No, two accounts. And I joined a trading group, and then they said, oh, put in, the person who referred me into this trading group said, put in $200 into this broker and start. So that's why I did $200. And then within like 4 days, it was down to like $15. When I really started succeeding, it was when I opened account a 3rd time. And this time I put in 10,000, okay? And I took a 10,000 bonus from the broker as well to make my capital like 20,000. And then with the 20,000, I traded it, won some, lost some, won some, lost some, won some, lost some. I fluctuated between the ranges of 40 and 50,000 for a fair bit as well. And eventually dropped down 36, I think, and then even climbed really low, and it came back with 36, 40 thereabouts. And then finally decided to shift broker, and then so the account that you see now, 422,000, is right from then. Started with literally 10K, right? 10K traded, and then up, down. Because of all the volume that I was making, I was able to keep the bonus. I was able to meet the deposit. I mean, the bonus criteria was like 40 times. and then after that I took out the money plus the profits plus the bonus, and went to a different broker and started with 30K and never topped out ever since. And it's what you see today. So bottom line, people will people trade for different reasons, but most of the time I think most people want to trade because they want to earn money, not for leisure or anything. If you're doing it for leisure, it's dumb. Like you're not better than people who play poker just to have as a social activity. So a lot of people, they play poker like a social activity and they lose money in the end. What's the point? Because you're just playing to hang out with friends. Then why don't you instead spend the money and buy a couple of drinks at the bar, or maybe like buy a gift for someone that you value, one of you may even want to, rather than do stupid stuff like throw $200 on an account, you may want to take me out for a fancy lunch and I may be able to share with you some nice advice. Isn't that more sensible? Or go out to anyone that you respect and say, hey, can I buy you lunch? Learn from an experienced person, some experiences, whatever. I mean, this is not related to trading, but I'm just saying that's a much better way of spending, punting money. No point. And also, do not expect to make hundreds of dollars per week on a minimum deposit account. Some people say, of course you can if you get into a winning streak, but how often are you going to get on a winning streak at $50 per trade on a $200 trading account? I think the chance is very slim, and not everyone can do it. And even those who can do it are not going to be able to do it every single time. Okay, so don't expect that. Be realistic, and when you're having a $200 account, you really should be trading minute trades. In fact, I like to recommend $500 accounts, because $500 trades, you can keep the $5 trade. The $500 accounts, you can keep the $5 trade to 1%, which is really pushing it on my risk management. Okay, like I said, I start as little as 0.3, so that's pushing it. 500 is actually really as low as you should go, all right? But if you want to be able to do a lot of stuff that I do, 1,000, 2.5. Even if it means that some of you cannot start trading at this time, that's fine. Just take it easy. Save the money and come back when you're ready, because every time you burn your account out, you're just giving yourself more and more emotional stress. You're giving yourself unnecessary discouragement, and obviously you have this pressure of trying to make all that back, and it's going to be very, very bad for your psyche as well. Oh yes, there's a all right. So for most of the cases I mentioned, right, because a member of mine just sent me a message that CT option in my list, they actually have $5 trades for binary. The midterm trades $5 as well. So it's not 25, it's just $5. So that's going to be a big plus. Okay, so if you want to do that, you can do. Okay, I would say for most of the brokers, start with 1,000 recommended. Go to my list. So do you know how to go to my list? Let me show this to you once again. Go to that link that you see right here at the bottom. See at the bottom here, this link. Go to this link. I'm going to show you what it says. So let me take you back to my screen. Okay, so this is the one, and click on this link. It's going to take you here, and this is where I tell you about the binary lab. And then you actually want to click on this link right here to register, and fill in your name, your last name, email address, your country, your phone number. Start with minimum and above. Really, seriously, start with minimum and above. Broker selection, like, okay, CT, they're the one that give you the $5 trades on binary. So if you really cannot afford to put more than 500 bucks, CT, and honestly, 1,000. If you're going to put 1,000 in there, this is going to give you a lot better risk management as well. CT. Otherwise, you know, you can pick just about any other one, put 1,000, any of those, that'll be good. But CT, if you're on the small side, put 500 there or 1,000. That's going to give you the best risk management. And for the rest, obviously, 1K is, like I said, it's going to allow you to do a lot of stuff that I do. 2.5K is going to be, it's going to allow you to do all the stuff that I do. All right, 1K, most of the stuff. 2.5K, all the stuff. And CT at 1K, you can do all the stuff that I do. All right, that's just about the end of this video. And you know, I actually should add my Facebook contacts here as well. Let me just add that into the description. So this is basically Julian Wong, founder, Binary Lab, and Facebook. You probably can click the follow on me. I'm not sure if I'm still accept friend requests, but that one. And you know, do hit the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. Do hit the like button. I post videos very often, so you can come back and check out what new stuff I've got, and also browse the previous videos I made about binary options trading. Since I started the Binary Lab back in March, I basically prided myself in wanting to provide like very genuine and very helpful information, because I know that most people out there talking about binary options on the internet are really out there just for broker commissions. I will not deny that, you know, in Binary Lab, when you fill out that form, I make broker commissions, but the good news is it also gives you free entry to the group. So you're not spending anything extra than you would, all right? And at the same time, you're able to, in a way, reward me for this information I'm going to give you when you come into the Binary Lab. So I welcome you with open arms, and depending when you're watching this video, Merry Christmas.